All right, so welcome to the Grace Hill Worship Ableton Live tutorial. The first thing you need to know about Ableton Live is how to open it. So one thing you want to do is you want to go down here to the launch pad if you're unfamiliar with Apple. Click on it and then click on Ableton Live 9 Standard. The thing that's going to be brought up is a set list that's just generic with Ableton. It's going to ask you about audio is disabled. You just go ahead and hit OK. We'll get to that in a second. It's going to bring up a generic basic template. We do not use this template. We've basically taken this template and modified it to do some things, to some hacks, some shortcuts, some cheats for Ableton to make Ableton run as smoothly and as easy as possible. So one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to want to go up to File at the very top. If this is maximized, you can minimize it, you can maximize it. I like it being maximized just so that it's the only thing that's on our screen. And you're going to click File, you're going to click Open Recent. We have two Grace Hill master sets. This one is from a few months ago. It hasn't been updated in a while, so click on Grace Hill Master Set, and it's going to bring up all of our songs. Okay, so if you are jumping in on a Sunday and there's some songs already here, these songs actually are just copies of all the songs that are down here. So they've probably been edited, whether that be our sound guy has asked us to turn a particular part down in the stems, whether it's a keys part or a loop or something. And so I don't usually edit them in the bottom track because it can change week to week. What I do is I just come over here, I change the, you can double click on these guys and you can change the volume on particular tracks. And so it's good to know which one's which. And so those things get changed, but the beginning of the week I always come through here and I just click delete, 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 delete. And then I just grab songs that are in the master set list catalog. If you want to be able to have your screen bigger, come down to the little arrow button. It'll get rid of that, and it kind of maximizes everything. And so one of the things real quick that you can easily do is inserting, these are called scenes, and these are what we will attach the MIDI buttons to fire. And so what we want to do first off is we want to create new scenes. And so you'll go to Command I. You just click that as many times as you want. And so we're going to get 3 new scenes. This is just like iTunes. It's so simple. You can drag, you can drop, you can copy, you can paste, stuff like that. And see, it'll let me switch these up. What I like to do is I like to go Command R and just delete the numbers so that I don't have weird numbers sitting around. And then what you're going to do, let's say we're doing a morning that has, we're going to go from Great Things into Not Afraid. So we're going to take those 2 songs. You don't want to drag and drop Great Things on this set list. You want to copy it so that you don't end up deleting it and having to reinsert this song. So I'm going to hit Command C, and I'm going to bring it up here, and then hit Command V. Anything I change on this version of Great Things only affects this version of Great Things. And so then I'm going to grab, we say Not Afraid, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to drop it here. Okay. So we'll just say this is our set list for the morning, just 2 songs. Obviously, we do 4 to 5 a weekend, but we'll use that for the basis of tutorial. So one of the things that always happens weekend after weekend is that when we fire Ableton, Ableton doesn't come through our in-ears, it doesn't come through the house. And one of the things is I'll spend time throughout the week editing tracks, inserting new tracks, and I have to be able to hear it, so I have to go into the preferences and change the audio output. And so a very, very easy thing to do, which will save your worship leader time from having to walk back there and change it, is to just go up to the live settings, go to preferences, just like you would on any Mac device, and you're going to go to where it says audio output device. Currently, I do not have it hooked up to our audio interface, but it'll say no device, built-in output, and then our Scarlett audio interface. And so I'm just going to click built-in output. A bunch of stuff's going to come up. Don't mess with it. No reason to mess with it. I've sorted out all that stuff. And so now you can come over here and fire this track. All right?
Intro. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And that's going to come through, it's obviously going to come out of the main speakers currently, but it will come out of whatever device you've asked it to, whether that's headphones, so you could use a headphone jack and then split it left and right, which we have. Basically is what we're using our audio interface with, and that is splitting it left and right is the stems coming through the house, left is just our click. Or you can split it through your speakers or through your audio interface. The next thing that typically comes up when we're in rehearsal is changing the volume of certain things. And usually our sound guy will say, hey, we really need less of the loop. And so you'll come over to the loop bar, and you'll click the loop bar, and there's FX BIP, which means bounce in place, which means I've edited this track in Logic. You'll double click that, and then you'll come down here where it has the dBs. Okay, so he says, hey, we really need more of the loop. So you can just pull up the loop, 3 dBs. It just really depends on how much you need. And if he says that's too much, you can then bring it down. And then if he's like, we really need more, you can edit it however you want to. And it'll make it easier for him to mix because we don't have separate channels for each individual loop channel. Everything's coming down one channel. So that's one way that's quickly changing the audio, just by double clicking, using this little guy, which is just the volume control of the particular track. Never really mess with these guys. Don't mess with like the channel bar, because the channel bar, they're all kind of set where they need to be. And if you mess with this guy, you're going to mess with every single loop on every single song that we play with. So just don't mess with it. I've really made this as simple and easy for everyone to operate as possible. It's got fail safes. It's a plug and play at this point. And so the next thing that you need to know is this MIDI button right here. Okay, you probably will not be using this a bunch, but let's say we're doing great things, and we think, okay, if you double click on this MIDI device, it tells you how many bars are going to play before it triggers the signal to go to Not Afraid. So basically at bar 110, Ableton is going to trigger the this MIDI button, which is just, if you click on, it's actually a assigned key signal. It's using this piano right here to trigger the correct button that replicates the go to next button, which is right here. These guys right here. And so we've just basically created a hack that makes it where we can, do a swell, do a trash can, and Ableton goes ahead and fires it so that your guitar player, your drummer, whoever's controlling Ableton doesn't have to worry about it, and then they're getting the new click, the new track is beginning. So what this is doing right here, let's say that you want to shorten the amount of time that you need for great things to end. Maybe the trash can's too long or it's too short. So we're going to hit this. This brings us to a very important thing on how to jump around in songs. We need to make sure that this is squared out, is all ones. So what you want to do is you click on this a couple times, this box, click on this box bunch, and it should zero it out, one it out. And we're going to hit Great Things. All right, so Great Things is playing.
Intro, 2, 1, 2, 3.
We're going to go to bar 100. So you just click on that, hit enter.
Outro. Breakdown.
And the MIDI device triggered at the end of 110 bars, which was this one. At the end of 110 bars, this is a mathematical trick, so don't try to reason with it a bunch. At the end of 110 bars, it went ahead and triggered the next song to begin. So we'll see that one more time. Obviously, you have to zero it out. I'll bring it closer to us this time.
Intro.
1,
2,
08
1.
we'll do. Watch it. This button will trigger, and you'll see it happen. It triggers the next scene.
1.
And so we're still trash canning, not afraid of starting.
2, 3,
and the drummer's
4.
able to come in without ever having to put his sticks down, without ever having to touch a button. He gets to make a smooth transition into the next song, and it creates a nice little musical moment. But if you needed to change it, most of these are kind of timed. We timed these out pretty well. If you needed to time this and change this, you could come over here and mess with this number. I've done it from time to time. This is probably something, this and warp mode are two things that I would honestly feel comfortable if it was somebody who is very advanced and able to messing with, just because it's really easy to get all kind of messed up. So the next thing is, this is something that we've talked about a lot in rehearsal, is I have to put down my guitar, I have to come over, and I have to basically jump us to a particular scene. As time goes on, we'll probably learn more of the structure of songs and write out what bar the chorus starts on or what bar the verse ends on, so that we can jump to that particular part of the song. And so what you do, you can do this by hitting great things. Let's see if we can just jump to the middle of the first verse. So there's 110 bars. We're just going to jump to bar 30 and see where we're at. You do the exact same way that you did to figure out where the MIDI button should end. Instead of having to listen to the whole song, I have to play through the entire song. You're just going to click this. You're going to go up to this number,
Intro,
hit 30,
2,
and then hit enter.
chorus.
And we jump straight to the chorus. Instead of having to play for a minute and a half to get to the chorus, we were able to jump straight to it. And so that may be something where a musical director needs to dissect the song to know where each part of the song is. Just have it written down on a sheet of paper so that we can practice parts of songs easier and faster. But that is a huge, huge help if you can just jump straight to a song. But remember, it has to be squared out, and you've got to click it. Let's go to 29 instead.
Intro, chorus.
Boom. The next thing that's very important that I do every single week, this takes me probably about 30 seconds to do. But let's say that we have, I'm just going to copy 2 more songs. So Lord, I Need You, I'll drop in here. And I'm Not the Same, I'll drop in there. Okay. One of the things that we have to do every single week is we have to give a MIDI note, which is basically the controller is telling it, the controller sends a note to Ableton, which then starts to fire the song. So you go to MIDI mode, and as you see, there's already, none of these songs should ever have anything next to them. That's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons I copy and paste, is so that I don't have to go back here and find out if Great Things down here has a MIDI note that we may accidentally fire in on a Sunday and then have a song playing that where you haven't even rehearsed. And so what you want to do is you want to go to MIDI mode, and then you have to make sure that your MIDI pad is attached, and then you're just going to press the 1 button on the MIDI controller. I don't have it on me, but this will just assign it which button you want to. So you're just linking it up on the controller. So you would go 1 on the controller, then click to the next one, 2, 3, 4. And we could change up the controller any way you wanted to, but all of these are also assigned where it cuts stems, click only, stop, click only, stop, click only. This is, and then stop all, stop all. These are, there's 2 of these for a particular reason I won't get into, but we have a reason for having them. Don't ever mess with those. The other option is let's say, the MIDI controller is not working. The drummer can just come over here and just click this button. Spacebar stops, by the way. The drummer can just hit this button, or there's key mode. Okay, none of these are assigned to keys, but you could have, if you needed to, let's say you didn't have a MIDI controller that week, you can go over here and press 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now that I have it in key mode, I'm gonna fire track 2.
1, 2.
All you have to do is hit track 2 on your keyboard, and it fires it. Okay, so let's say you accidentally hit the wrong note. All you go to key mode or MIDI mode. They operate the same way. And you're going to hit delete. You're not deleting the song. You're just deleting the trigger that you gave it. Okay? And that's just about it on the basics of how to use Ableton and making sure you can do the things that you need to do if someone's not there. The other thing that is super important is making sure that each song has a click and a guide. Okay, so I've created these guide, you'll hear them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So that's a 6/8 trigger.
1,
This is a 2 bar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. If these do not have these beside them,
Intro 2, 3, 4. Intro 2, 3, 4.
so let's say you're playing one Sunday and you think, man, we really don't need 2 bars on Lord I Need You. You do the exact same thing as you would for the MIDI thing, and you hit delete on guide, and you go to here and you copy it, go back up here and hit Command V and paste it. You can also right click to go copy paste, or double click. The right click for a Mac is 2 fingers. You also need the correct MIDI metronome. Okay, so this is just a MIDI file that warps to the time signature. Okay, so I won't get into warp mode and all of that kind of stuff, but just know that anything that's MIDI will warp to this number right here, which is a time signature, okay, or the BPMs. You need to make sure you have both of those, which every song in here should have a metronome, and all of them should have guides. But if they don't, super easy fix, no problem, okay? So that is very easy. And then the other thing is a drone. We typically do not use the drones if we're using stems. If we use stems, typically they just kind of get in the place and they kind of muddy up the mix. They don't really add a ton because most of these stems already have keys parts. Like that one, keys 3 on Great Things is a pad, and so it's already padding the correct chords. You don't need a drone. So let's say you need to drop in a drone, and you're like, man, this song's just really kind of bare. What you're gonna do is you're gonna drop it into drone number 1. So say we're doing it in B flat. You're gonna come over to this little icon. You're gonna go to pads, and you're just gonna take this guy right here and just drag it into the drone, and boom.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
Your drone is in the mix. Okay. If you want to get rid of it, you just delete it. Yeah, that's basically it. The only other thing is changing the BPMs. Let's say that I'm not the same. It's just too slow. You're like, okay, well, we need to change the BPMs. Here's what the BPM is currently.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
We're going to change it to be a little bit faster. So we're going to go to Command R. We're going to go right here. We're going to change it to, let's say, 82. It's going to be way too fast. But see the difference.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
And that's it. So that's the basic Ableton rundown. If you need to change some things, these are common things that we're running into on Sunday mornings that need to be changed, need to be adapted. If you could verse yourself in them and just spend a little bit of time recognizing what the template looks like and figuring out how to change a few things, audio inputs, copying, pasting songs, jumping to different parts of songs, it actually probably could save a little bit of time. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.